What's up, ladies and gentlemen, it's Aerons, and I'm back to discuss WWE NXT on the Wrestle YouTube channel. Now, I always glow about NXT, it's my favourite 2 hours of the week, but last night was okay. Nothing bad, nothing offensive, just found that there was actually a couple of moments where I was a bit like, yeah, let's get on with it, please. Now, they're building towards Stand and Deliver, which is great. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of change-ups there. Now, I have it on good authority that there's a bit of a COVID outbreak going on. That's why certain people are missing. Killian Dane, Timothy Thatcher. Not sure if Jessie Kamea falls into that bracket, as we'll find out a little bit later. But there's quite a few guys missing, guys and girls, and they've been shoehorning in talents to kind of help that out. Show opened with a decent paced match. I quite like the tag team affair. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai picking up a win over Zoe Stark and Io Shirai. Of course, Zoe Stark takes the pinfall loss here. Really like Zoe Stark, actually. She's really growing on me. She's beautiful. She's big and powerful. Just a great talent overall. Got everything you want to be a potential success. And the fact that she keeps losing doesn't hurt too much because every match she has a great showing and shows great potential against her opponents. That's the most important thing. You don't have to win all the time, even though I'm going to kick off about it a little bit later. But at the same time, you want to make sure that if you're going to be a credible star in the future, that people get to see why the company has so much faith in you. But it's a great match. It builds towards Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai, and there's a lot of stare downs going on. See, even when it comes to really cheesy, tacky builds, NXT's still better than Raw by a country mile. Raw spent way too much time going, look, it's the thing over there. Nobody gives a fuck about that. At least with NXT, it was like, I'm going to stare down my opponent and threaten them, because that's pretty much what you should do in a fight before you get at it. So yeah, from that perspective, the women did all right. The tag team match later in the night, I didn't really care that much for. Jessie Kamea wasn't available. I don't know if that was a legitimate injury or it was the COVID protocol. She was replaced last minute by Mercedes Martinez. Robert Stone gave her half the money now, half it later. And obviously, you're not getting the other half, sweetheart, because the tag team champions retain. Dare I say, I'm not a huge fan of Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart as tag team champions. They just feel a little bit... they're okay, they're fine, absolutely, but they just don't feel like a really big, credible tag team. I actually much prefer Ember Moon as a single star. I'm a little bit surprised that she didn't get a much bigger push. I know she was out for a very long time of injury, so she'll just be happy that she's competing and holding gold, which is always a good thing. But yeah, match was relatively short and uninspiring. I really like Aaliyah. I actually feel like the Robert Stone brand should just get lost now. I don't think it has much potential. I think you've already got Malcolm Bivens, who's a far better manager than Robert Stone in that respect, and far more entertaining on the microphone as well. It feels to me like he's about 20 years too late. If he had tipped up maybe in the 80s or 90s or whatever, 30 years too late, 40 years too late. You know, if he tipped up in the old Mid-South NWA days, he probably would have garnered good heat because he's quite obnoxious. But in this day and age where people are a lot more accepting and a lot more understanding of different looks and different cultures and different styles and sexualities and everything else, as they rightfully should, he just feels okay. There's nothing... He's not offensive enough. That's his problem. Whenever Robert Stone talks, I'm like, cool, okay, mate. Like, I don't find him that offensive. I don't think he's a smug prick. He's just Robert Stone. Whatever. And it's not helped by the fact that Aaliyah doesn't really get a chance to express herself much or really stretch her legs too much in terms of what she can create, because she's got a stunning look about her and really could be the evolution of Carmella's character taken to a next level, and we don't really get to see enough of her, to be honest. So, you know, it's not all sunshine and lollipops at the NXT brand. Unfortunately, Danny Burch is injured. Heartbroken about that, obviously. One of my personal favourite wrestlers, guy I've had the pleasure of meeting, really lovely guy. So he'll be out for about 6 months with a separated shoulder. That means that the NXT Tag Team titles need to be relinquished. And, you know, through some misery comes great opportunity, because the NXT Tag Team titles will be redecided at Stand and Deliver in what will easily be the match of both nights. This has got match of the decade written all over it. MSK, grizzled young veterans, soon, and Legado del Fantasma in a triple threat tag team title match. Oh my days. As soon as I saw that, I actually squealed with joy. I was like, yeah, I was like a proper like little schoolboy. I was like, oh my god, because that is going to be fucking peng, ladies and gentlemen. I can guarantee you that. Now, only Lorcan's out for revenge for everything that happened, and he took on Karrion Kross, and that didn't work out too well for him. He got battered, as you would expect. Karrion Kross continues to demolish his way through the roster. I'm still pretty sure he's never lost a match. Obviously, he had to relinquish the NXT title. Out comes Finn Balor. Excellent promo. This show may not have necessarily been the most exciting in terms of wrestling in certain aspects of its show, but the promos were world class. So much better than listening to 15 minutes of an interior designer cosplaying as Elton John on Impact Wrestling. Yeah, can do without that shit. That's not a promo, mate. That was a fucking novella of tedium. Brilliant stuff. And I love the fact that Finn Balor's like, yeah, you know what? You are dangerous. You are an incredible athlete, but you act on emotion and I don't. I'm cold. I'm calculated. And I'm going to take you into the deep end of the waters and I'm going to drown you. Awesome. Fucking great. Finn Balor, just a revelation since he came back to NXT. And ever since they put the belt on him, he has been world class. And he's proved me wrong, especially because I was never his biggest fan. But I'm really fucking enjoying his work right now. And Karrion Kross and him, they're on a collision course and it just feels really big time and really main event worthy. And it's interesting to see who's going to win that because there's so many rumors running around that Karrion Kross is going to the main roster. So how are you going to, you know, if that is to be the case, how are you going to get him out of this rivalry, you know, without the title? Because obviously you don't want him just rocking up on the main roster, or do you with the NXT Championship? I don't know, but you would think that he's not going to win the title and then bugger off to the main roster. So is Finn Balor going to retain, or are we going to have shenanigans? Who knows? Who knows indeed? Maybe Keith Lee's going to come back down to the NXT roster and interrupt because, you know, he's got afters with Karrion Kross as well. We shall see. The main event in terms of wrestling was Jordan Devlin versus Kushida. Masterful. Absolutely masterful. Great wrestling match. What more can I tell you, really? Go and watch it. Simple as that. There's nothing else I have to say. Great match. You know, Jordan Devlin, whenever he appears, there's going to be a section of fans who are just going to shit all over it. And whether they're correct in doing so or not is not for me to say, really. It depends on, you know, who you believe in terms of allegations and things involving speaking out. But Devlin and Kushida have a fantastic match. And, of course, Legado del Fantasma can't help themselves. They've got to stick their nose in. Santos Escobar squares up to him. And then all of a sudden, HBK's music hits, and I was like, oh my god, what? I'd totally forgotten about him. I'd forgotten he was a part of NXT and that, and he comes strolling out. Must say he's looking a little bit worse for wear, but hey, that's what age does. He comes strolling down, and he's looking at both of them, and he's going, yeah, very impressive. And then he goes under the ring apron and pulls out a ladder and pushes it between the two and leaves them to jaw jack at each other. Ladder match, very WrestleMania 10 worthy. That's what happened when you had two IC titles back then, and it was HBK and Razor Ramon. Perfect to have him out there. This was cool. This is how you use legends properly. They don't come out at 61 years old when it's snowing. They come out and they put over the talent without having to get in the ring and prove themselves. Fantastic seeing those two men standing over a ladder, both holding their cruiserweight title aloft. That is good shit. Stand and Deliver has got some of the best matches I've seen in a long time. Case in point, Volta and Tommaso Ciampa. Volta murders Drake Maverick in about 15 seconds. Good. Absolutely good. Because I don't mind smaller wrestlers, albeit as long as they're not as tiny as Marco Stunt, but Drake Maverick shouldn't be getting any offense in, and he doesn't. He tries to jump on him, and he just gets fucking murdered. Simple as that. Ciampa comes out and says, I want a UK title shot. Oh my days. Volta's like, nah, you're not getting one of those, so Ciampa takes it upon himself to disrespect him. There's a little bit of a symbology with the ripping of the necklace, which I thought was very cool. And Tommaso Ciampa is like scrambling towards that necklace while also wearing Thatcher's t-shirt, which I think is really good. And now we're all set for Volta versus Tommaso Ciampa at Stand and Deliver. Great stuff. They're building these rivalries, and without having them go, look at the sign. No. Put it up on the screen if you have to. Cool. But these guys are focused on each other, not on the fucking branding. That's how it should be. Proper fights are not about fucking sponsoring yourself. Jesus Christ. You know, I liken it to if you watch, for anyone who's a big UFC fan out there, obviously UFC has great sponsorships and everything else going on, but can you imagine if halfway through the fight, you know, Conor McGregor just starts like pointing towards different sponsors, you know, or halfway through a fight, he just grabs a bag of Skittles and downs them and turns around and goes, 3 ounces for Skittles. Like, that's not going to work, mate, is it? Come on. Just not going to work. So, you know, I like this. I thought this was good shit. Now, LA Knight faced Bronson Reed. And a little part of me was like, oh, this would be a good match, but obviously LA Knight's going to go over. So what? Bronson Reed goes over, squashes him. Not literally, obviously. Well, yes, literally, but not in terms of a metaphorical match building sense. Had a great match, fantastic and physical. LA Knight, you know, gets sort of countered at the junction by Bronson Reed, who then hits the big old fucking tsunami splash and gets the win. Just like that. What? No. Sorry, no. Right. Now, I mentioned last week, a couple of weeks ago, this isn't good for business, having 2 megastars or people who could be megastars going after each other, because someone's going to have to suffer here. Bronson Reed can't afford any more high-value losses, as far as I'm concerned, if you want him to be taken seriously. Wins and losses do matter to a certain extent. Not entirely, but enough. And I'm just stunned, because why? LA Knight has had 2 matches and he's already lost one. He is legitimately already one of your best mic workers. He could be the heir to the throne that has been empty ever since The Rock left. He is genuinely that charismatic, that world class. He is a incredible talent in terms of charisma. And you have him go out there and lose in, albeit a very good competitive match. Nah, see, already I'm thinking, oh God, what are you doing? Do you know what you're doing with this guy? He's in a gauntlet battle royal style thing next week to decide which 6 men will be in an actual gauntlet for the North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. You know, that's another time. That's another opportunity for him, and if he loses that too, then all of a sudden you're thinking, why do I care about this guy? The thing is, right, if you're a wrestling fan, even if you are a complete and utter smart, like the majority of us are, or if you're fully aware of what's happening, you still want to suspend your disbelief and enjoy a guy's run. And I'm worried that if they carry on doing this with LA Knight, the crowd are just going to be like, whatever, I've seen you lose too many matches to take you seriously as a legitimate contender, which is a shame, because he should be running roughshod over your roster right now, because he's so good. I don't understand why you needed to put him in this rivalry. I really don't. But the rivalry that obviously shines above all else is the breakup of the Undisputed Era. It still hurts, man. It still hurts. And Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, they had a nice little sit-down interview earlier in the night. Kyle O'Reilly kind of bumped into Roderick Strong, and Roderick Strong was like, yeah, we need to kick this guy's ass. And he was like, there is no us anymore, Roddy. Roddy, unfortunately, has been set adrift by himself, and he had a nice little thing backstage where he jaw-jacked the idiot that is, of course, Cameron Grimes, so that gives Roddy something to do possibly next week. But this segment was masterful. This is one of the best entertainment-wise segments I think NXT has ever done. Both men sitting opposite each other. It was a highly fraught and highly tense contract signing of sorts, and they both had incredible things to say, and their promos were amazing. And as they were coming out, by the way, Shawn Michaels was walking backstage, and he kind of smiled at Adam Cole as if to say, yeah, and Adam Cole was looking at him like, I'll kick your head off, mate. I thought, oh my God, you're going to give me what I want. But actually, more so, I loved it because it was very much a case of Shawn Michaels saying, you're the next me. I believe that. That's how it felt to me. That's how I interpreted it. And of course, Adam Cole really does have all the tools. You know, he is a smaller guy, but he is a world-class athlete, a world-class mic worker, just like Shawn Michaels was in so many ways. There is a lot of parallels and a lot of comparisons that you can draw between the two, and this segment was beautiful. Adam Cole's promo, staring down Kyle O'Reilly, talking about being blind and ultimately being able to see again, a revelation, you know, involving William Regal as well, who was fantastic as well. Regal genuinely looks like the angry, furious, disappointed dad. He's like, fine, you 2 idiots who are my sons want to fucking destroy the place. You can do it on your own fucking time. It was great. Good stuff. It's going to be an unsanctioned match. It's going to be the co-main event. I think it should close the show because I really think it's got that much talent and that much quality in it. And Kyle O'Reilly's promo was just as good, actually. He's not as renowned for promos, not nearly on the level of Adam Cole at least, but he was phenomenal in talking. And I love the fact that for Kyle O'Reilly, it was all about becoming a better person. It was all about, you know what, I'm sick and tired of being a piece of shit. We're going to have heat with the locker room for the rest of our lives because of how we behaved. I want to take accountability. You don't, because you're insecure and you're cold and you took advantage of us to get where you wanted to be. So now I'm going to have to cut the head off the snake. You know, and the snake is still willing to bite Kyle O'Reilly's fucking head off. I love it. This is absolutely masterful. This is very much on a par with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa when they excommunicated. I'm so excited for this. And of course, the table gets tipped over as it always does, but both men are separated so that you don't get too much more of a spoiler. And of course, they will face each other at one of the biggest main events you got to think NXT has ever had at Stand and Deliver. This is going to be an absolute war. I hope they get the opportunity to murder each other. It feels like a legitimate war, a rivalry. They're spitting at each other, they're snarling at each other. There were pitbull references and they looked like two vicious pit bulls being held back from biting each other's faces off. And that was the perfect way to end a very up and down show for NXT. There was nothing bad about it, but the stuff that was a bit boring took away from the overall enjoyment of what I actually enjoy every week, which of course is NXT. But it was still an excellent show. Still so well paced, so well organised, and it finished with that masterpiece. That feels like it's going to be really special, and I feel like they have not put a foot wrong in building this rivalry. By the way, that is how you cut fucking promos, not wandering around dressed like Elton John talking about being sucked. Cheers. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know what you think, so leave your comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out all our incredible content. We've got an audio exclusive interview that's currently available involving the amazing Queen of Tukase, which is Kira Kamara. She's going to be a huge star in the European independent scene, and you owe it to yourselves as wrestling fans to check that out. Tomorrow we have the Q&A drop in. Look out for that. That's going to be an absolute doozy. Thank you so much for getting us over the 300 mark. We now look forward to 400, but before we do, we have to give away a t-shirt and a piece of art. That will be given away at the end of this week, so look out for that on the channel. I'll drop a very special video, may even do it during the SmackDown review. We'll see how things go. Things are very busy here at WrestlePlug Towers, but I've still got plenty of work to do. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you look after yourselves. If you're afforded the opportunity to get vaccinated, then do it. Wear a mask while you're out and about, because ultimately, if we all do our bit, we can all have a much better time of it when things get back to a certain degree of normality. From myself, Aerons, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon for more content from the WrestlePlug.